information. Now, naturally, this awful story has only fueled parents' anxieties about the harm being done to their children online, and the companies behind these god-awful apps appear unwilling or unable to properly safeguard their younger users. So to break this down tonight, I'm joined by the Daily Telegraph star columnist and best-selling author Celia Walden, who's written about her own fears of her daughter being exposed to the potentially devastating effects of social media. And Celia, I can only imagine that as a parent, you want to try and ban your daughter from these apps. But is that realistic when they operate in a world where all of their friends are on Instagram and TikTok?
Well, I mean, I think that's the point that I wanted to make when I wrote about this tragic story earlier on in the week, because the last thing anyone wants to do is that awful sort of parental thing of, well, my daughter's never going to go near, because the fact is, as you say, this is not going away. It's everywhere you look. It's so deeply ingrained in our society now, and so no one wants to be blaming me as parents for letting her go on social media or anything like that. That is not the. But my point was that, and even the school who are at the moment, we're trying to find out how much blame should be dealt to them in terms of did they notice a culture of cyberbullying? Whether you can notice a culture of cyberbullying, I don't know. I mean, that's the whole point of it, is that it operates in the shadows. And it's the media for cowards, isn't it? It used to be that people just gave you a punch in the face and you would go home with a black eye. But the thing that's so particularly evil, I think, about social media is that it's cowards who operate in the shadows, and and people feel ashamed by that bullying and don't tell their parents, and there's no way of anyone calling it out because they're not seeing it.
No, it's absolutely despicable. But the issue that I have, Celia, is that these social media companies, and very often, well, in virtually all cases, right, the tech giants based in San Francisco, they don't seem to give a damn. They want to protect their own backs rather than actually do the right thing. Because
100%.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about the thing that is just unbearable is if you ever read an interview with any tech giant or any of the Silicon Valley heads, none of them let their kids go on social media. So rather like sort of old tobacco barons, who, by the way, never touch cigarettes, it's fine. Everyone else can suffer the consequences, but they're going to keep their kids well away from it. But unfortunately, as you said, I think that's not possible. And even with the best intentions, it's great that we have all these sort of cyber, my daughter, for example, she's 10, she's already had a cyberbullying class at school. But my worry is that there's something about social media. In fact, this is what it's supposed to do, isn't it? That whips you up into such a state that even if you know all that stuff, you're somehow unable to use your sort of rational brain in that moment, which is why we're seeing more and more of these really appalling cases.